It is morning. Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure it is Monday again. Forgive me while I tweet. Okay, good morning. Ah, I do apologize. Intended to do this. Take my glasses off. Intended to already be done with this. My mind is always checking my grammar because since, Meniere's disease and migraine, my grammar is horrible. Um, but that and, southeastern Kentucky. You see little tinges of red on my lips. Red popsicle. It tried to use a lip scrub. It's just kind of there for the duration. Having coffee today. And hopefully I won't hold you as long as I did yesterday. I found out a cool thing. Throw this in there real quick because y'all know I love my little washer. I can wash my pillows in it and just hang them to dry. I just kind of lay them over the spin part of it and let it drip all the way and then just hang them on a hanger and let them finish drying. And that gives me clean pillows, which makes me oh so happy because I don't know if you're like me or not, but there are things that crawl around and that, fall off of your skin onto your pillow and your blanket and your mattress and ew. so, so that kind of takes care of that. Gonna start off this morning. I'm gonna unbox y'all know how to open a box, okay? So for me, when I get my Boxycharm, I just go ahead and open it and get it all, get all the excess out of the way because you know how to open a box. Seriously. This box excited me quite a bit, and I'm going to do this rather quickly because I want to get further on into because the Brigio Don't Despair Repair Pack is in it, and it's actually enough to where I could actually try to use it on my hair, which makes me happy. So I will be giving that a shot, and I will let you know. Have an eyeliner from Starlooks or Aurora Gem Looks long wear eye pencil. Starlooks. I'm not going to open it because I'm passing it along. Well, actually, I am going to open it because my daughter did. I forgot that she did, but nobody's touched it. It's kind of a softer pink color, which is going to be gorgeous on the person that I have in mind to pass it on to. And have two masks from Tatcha. I'm excited to try these. I don't even know if I love my daughter enough to share it with her. There you go. Hang on just a minute. Son, your timer went off. I need you to go potty. Sorry. Hang on. Also, trying to do this where everything works. And I kind of had more things in place this morning until I woke up and walked around my house. The dog got into the trash, which ended up making her sick, as usual. So she was sick like in pretty much the living room, the kitchen, all kinds of neat stuff. Lipstick from Bite Beauty. I love this shade. I'm not going to swatch it, even though I love this shade very, very, very much. It's called Dragon Fruit. It's also going to be passed on to the same person that I'm passing on the pencil to because it all matches and she's going to love it. And she needs a little pick-me-up right now, so that's what we're going to do. Boxycharm made me very, very happy. And when I first got this, I was going to keep it because I hadn't really had an experience with Tarte eyeshadows. So I thought, perfect time. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3 palette. When I opened it and looked at it, these are colors that suit my friend that I'm passing the other items down to, so she's going to get it. Thankfully, she doesn't watch my channel very often, so she doesn't know she's getting a surprise. And I know she's not watching today because she's handling some unhappy business. Anyway, that is my Boxycharm for the month, and like I said, most of that's going to be passed down. Did you go potty, son? Son, answer me. Did you go potty? Thank you. Hey, reset your timer. We're trying a different method. When I get busy, we tend to run out of time. I'm sweating to death. And he tends to have accidents. So we decided today that we would try using the timer on his iPad versus letting him have his iPad. He can have the Roku and play in his room, and this might work. Okay, this morning, before my daughter went to work, she called me and she said, there's a box out on the porch. This was part of my Christmas. And after I bought it, I kind of thought I probably shouldn't have. But this is the Tardist Pro Remix. I'll get it out of the way really quickly because I want to get on with this. And in it is a palette of blushes and highlighters and bronzers. The Tardist Remix, I can't hold it up high enough. And then the Tardist Pro. You'll see those at a later date because I'm not going to swatch them right now. I gotta find a place for them. I'm going to actually slide them right up there because that's about the only place where they will fit. So let's get to today. Whew. I have been up actually doing stuff for maybe 2 hours and I'm already whooped. Cat's litter pans were awful. Like I said, the dog had been sick all through the house. It just has been an unpleasant morning. But the good thing about this morning is, before I got up and witnessed all of the, oh gosh, I did a little bit of reading, which helps my oh gosh moments tremendously. Because if I didn't have those moments, some days I would just scream. Oh, why, thank you. Is it Johnny? Am I saying your name correctly? And I'm so you guys that meal plan, absolutely. Y'all just fascinate me. I cannot. I don't know if it's a mixture of my family or just my inability to do it. But anyway, we are going to, as I said when I titled this, it's going to be kind of a chatty. Get ready with me. There's probably some other things that are going to go in the box to my friend. Just because I have so much that I will never use it all, so there you go. Plus there's some of it that I just don't like, so definitely not keeping it. And if you're wondering why I'm not giving it to my daughter, she's in the same situation that I am, and I'm dropping stuff. It's what happens when you get old and have the issues with your hands as I do. Let me rinse this off real quick. The thought that came to my mind this morning when I was reading, actually, it's a combination of things that brought this to my mind. you know, whenever I talk, sometimes I tell stories and they're personal. They're me. My last live, I think I lost 3 subs. Oh, well, um, it. I talk from my heart, and I tell you what, I share with you what I think that I need to share with you. So that being said, I am 52 years old. I've said that a bazillion times on here. I'm pretty proud to be 52 years old. Wrinkles and all. Um, because it's a blessing to age. We're just going to use a little bit of the Art Shape Tape Concealer for base. I'm going to have to break out a new tube of this eventually because it's getting kind of low. Anyway, whenever I was growing up, now some of you can debate this with me, and we'll just have to agree to that we're both right. But I had the best mom, and still do. I have the best mother, and I had the best aunts. I still have one of them left on my mother's side. When I speak mostly of family, I'm generally speaking of my mother's side. It's not to slight my dad's side. I just grew up around my mom's side. My dad was gone most of the time, and we just weren't really around them. And that's just how it went. So, I may have to stop. What are you doing, son? I didn't pick out a palette. I'm sorry. I'll do the easy way. Since we're basically staying around the house, in this palette are all of my unique palettes from 1 to 6. So we'll just use these. Kind of why not? And if y'all ever see my face turn white and hit the floor, you know that my grandson has done something.
I see the veggie box.
What are you doing?
I get the veggie box.
You got the veggie bot?
Yeah.
Did you get Cooper?
Well.
How about you leave Cooper alone today? Okay? You leave Cooper alone and go play.
Whoa.
Son, out of my room and play in your room.
It's the veggie box.
Yes, in your room. Anyway, we're going to go into, this is the first palette. I'm going to go into this first color. I can't remember the colors. I couldn't remember them whenever I had them out in palettes. So it just is what it is. We're just going to lay it down as a base. This is kind of a go-to look that works for me whenever I'm rushing.
Octopus moving. The octopus moving.
The octopod is moving?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Oh, let me tell you, my grandson, he's a hot mess. Okay. He wants to pet Happy. Happy is the fish. We have not been able to get him to understand that you can't pet Happy. So, what? That doesn't go on my walls. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go into, I can't remember this color either. I think it was Chipper or something like that. It's been about 2 years since I started selling this, so, and I don't sell it anymore, so I don't have a clue. use that as a transition color. And I kind of let that get away from me just a bit, but we'll fix it. And I was noticing different people do things different ways. And I was watching a video the other night. And I want to say that it was Makeup by Mandy. I can't remember for sure. But she was talking about how she starts from the opposite end and goes in. And her makeup was gorgeous. So if you do that and it works for you, that's super fantastic. I can't do it that way. And it just does not work for me. I end up getting too much right here and right here. So I kind of have to do it the other way. And if you watch when I'm gripping my brushes, it looks like I'm gripping them a lot tighter than what I am. I'm not. It's just the dexterity in my hands has diminished so much that this is what I got left. So, there we are. And we're going to go into this brown. I have to look. I have a bruise on my wrist and I have to look and make sure it's not makeup because I've walked out of the house going somewhere with makeup on the back of my hand from doing my makeup on more than one occasion. We're just going to put that in the corner for some depth. Once I get my eyeballs done, I tend to talk more freely because I don't have to pay attention as much for the rest of it. I'm just going to take my finger and go into this third color over. And just pack it. It's also the reason why most people will tell you to use this finger. I don't have the dexterity or the strength in my hands anymore, so I've had to kind of, it's kind of one of those do as I say, not as I do things, because I've had to change up how I do things to deal with these things that keep trying to attack my body. Hang on just 1 second. Please get down, cat. Thank you. It's a circus here. I'm not even kidding you. It is a circus. And it gets worse the more people that come home. Yeah, I used to think it got better. No, I've accepted it. It's worse. I just go in my room and hide from all of them. That's just all that I do. Anyway, we're going to give that a good blend and be done with that part. It's like I said, it's kind of a go-to. Is it just me, or does UPS and FedEx not ring your doorbell? For probably 7-8 months now. Even this morning, when my package arrived, we were here, but they didn't ring the bell. 99% of the time, I'm here. Anyway, let's keep going. What was I going to do? Oh, I was telling you a story. And I got sidetracked, which happens because ADHD brain, take the flight with me. We'll circle around. Really, because I know always before they would ring my bell. And I mean, they would be gone and back in the truck before, you know, I got to the door, but they would at least ring the bell and let me know I had a package. But they don't do that now. And it's just kind of like, you know, I put some money into what I ordered. I would like to get it and like to know whenever it's here. Okay, gonna do this. Gonna use one of my little samples that came from Sephora. It's Professional from Benefit. It's one of my favorite primers, so I'm gonna use it. And then while I'm letting it tag a little bit, we can talk a little bit. The one thing that I love about using my go-to makeup is that I can do it with my eyes closed and know that I don't have fallout. I don't generally get a lot of fallout because I go very light-handed. And that goes back to nothing that I do that's very spectacular. It just goes to, I don't have time to keep blending and keep blending and keep blending. I've got a little child that God only knows what he's into. And that's how that goes. I'm not going to do anything with my eyebrows this morning. If I decide to go somewhere later this evening, I'll pop in here and fix it. For now, we're going to just kind of keep it just my eyes, just not to scare anybody who may or may not appear at my door or be watching me. The story that I was going to tell you, I have a wonderful mother. She has, she still has one. She had wonderful sisters. Her mother died when she was very, very thank you so much. Her mother died when she was probably 6 or 7, so her sisters basically had to jump in and raise her. And I often have wondered what it would be like to know my grandmother, because I never got that opportunity. But I have a good ideal because I know her children. I met all of them. Only met a few of them a couple of times, but I know her children. And they are people, for the most part, that you want to be like. I had an uncle that was a contractor, a carpenter contractor, and if he gave you his word and he shook your hand, you didn't need anything else. Whatever he told you he would do, he would do. Excuse me, my nose runs 24/7. It's Kentucky. I vacuumed in my bedroom because it used to be the basement that got the bulk of the animal hair. Now the dogs stay up here with me and the cats, so it's my bedroom that's forever like hair. Anyway, so we took care of that, which means that I'm extra snotty today. Anyway, back to what I was telling you. I grew up around people, and especially my parents. If they told you something, or if they told you they would do it, you didn't have to sign a piece of paper with them. You didn't have to. They meant it. You know, that's just how it was. If they told you they were going to do something, you could just take it to the bank. It's going to be done. They're going to do it. My grandson's in there saying, "Take it to the bank." So my mind, I was blessed with these 3 women who were the nucleus of my world, and as my mother and her 2 older sisters. And each of the children from those two families and myself, we all grew up together. We were together other than the times that my dad moved us away for a duty station. But even then, we were phone calls and all that good stuff. We were still close. And so all of us say that we're sister cousins or brother cousins or something to that effect. Putting on the Becca under eye anti-fatigue, try to make myself look like I'm not 52 stuff. It's kind of a primer. It does brighten up a little bit, but I'm 52. That is what it is. And it does smooth quite a bit. I forget to use it half the time because I put it up here where I would remember to use it and I forget it. Anyway, and then I'm going to use the Becca color corrector. Anyway, so having been raised by these people, I had role models that really set the standard high. I talk about my dad a lot. And when I talk about my dad, I want y'all to understand one thing. Whenever I'm talking about my dad, any type of praise or uplifting or bragging, whatever you want to call it, that I'm doing on him, includes my mother too. Because if it hadn't been for my mother, and I'm just going to lay this straight out, if it hadn't been for my mother, my dad's life would have been completely different, and he'd have probably followed in the footsteps of his father and his grandfather and his great uncles, and that road led to the penitentiary for them. So, and I'm sorry, I can't see all of the comments, but I will read them after the feed is over. But anyway, growing up, I had some big shoes. I always, my Aunt Corey, her birthday was the 8th, and I miss her oh so much. She died in 2014, and she and her husband had been chosen to be our legal guardian. If something happened to my mom and dad, they took that job seriously. Even though nothing never happened to my mom and dad, they took it seriously. And when I tell you seriously, I mean to tell you that when my uncle would whistle for his 6 children to come home, my behind better be with them. That's just all there was to it. Whether it was in Cincinnati, in Kentucky, in Tennessee, wherever we were, we had a whistle. And when we heard him whistle, we best be making it back to where we were supposed to be. But anyway, growing up, all of these people using the tart-shaped tape like I did yesterday in the mat, it actually did pretty well. Not sure why, because it's matte. But anyway, so I spent a lot of time growing up. I am an introverted person and somewhat quiet because I have to refuel. I have to have my moments where I can gather my thoughts, where I can get alone and pray and meditate and do what I need to do. If I don't have that time, I become a very unhappy camper. And that's because I'm disconnected. I'm just taking a little beauty blender and we're going to blend this out. So, I grew up playing the piano in church. I started playing, I was probably 7th grade. I started singing when I was 2. My daughter beat me. She started singing when she was at 18 months old. My grandson isn't there yet, but He wants to lead the choir. So anyway, um, my mother was always very, and still is, very quiet, very refined. You could just see, images of her with the white gloves and stuff like that. She didn't really ever wear that, but just her demeanor is just very refined, very quiet. If you made her mad, you've accomplished something. To this very day. So, for the longest time, between her and my sister, anybody have a big sister besides me that looked like Barbie? My sister was the life-size, no anything done on her body. She was tiny. Her waist was thin. She was gorgeous, blonde-headed, blue eyes. We have the same parents. She takes back after my mother's family. I take back more after my father's family. But my sister, and still is, absolutely Barbie drop-dead gorgeous. That's what I grew up underneath. That's what I had to follow. And for a long, long time, I'm going to go through and just put a little bit of concealer to just brighten up underneath my eyeballs. For a long, long time, I thought I had to be just like her. I tried my best to be just like her. I did things that she liked, whether I liked them or not. Same thing with my mother. I tried to be, my mother is that quiet lady. I am not, okay? I am to a point I'm not. You get me at a ball game, I'm going to make some noise. You get my cats on TV playing, I'm going to make some noise. You get me in the church house, I'm going to make some noise. That's just me. That's my personality. And of course, I grew up in the music department, and it's very different than what my mother grew up. But her deal was always, and still is, if I could play the piano, I'd play it every time, every church I went into and all this good stuff. And it's kind of like, Mom, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. But anyway, the point of what I want to share with you today is real simple. You are good enough with just who you are. You are designed to do what nobody else can do. Somebody's going to be better than you. There are people right, left, and sideways that can outplay a piano better than I can. There are people that can play a flute better than I can. I haven't played one in years, but there are people that can read music. There are people that can talk and do things like this. But there are people that can keep up with things. I can't keep up with everything. I'll just tell you. I am generally the last one to know anything that's going on in my family. That's just how it is. And sometimes it's even in my house. But I learned a few years ago that I'm enough. I'm designed to be enough to do what God has called me to do. And that's what I do. And part of it is doing this. And whenever I do this and when I'm talking to you, please don't ever think that I'm coming from you from a place of judgment, because I'm not. Trust me when I tell you, judgment is not one of those things that's in where I'm at. I sometimes get there and have to veer back and get myself back over where I'm supposed to be, because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. But encouraging you, that's what I'm supposed to do. Telling you you're enough. Telling you you're good enough. Telling you not to worry about what other people are doing or what they're saying or how they're advancing in life, because your time will come. It might not be your time yet. And I know that that sounds like something that you hear if you do MLM stuff. And if you don't know what MLM is, it's multi-level marketing. If you choose to do it, best of luck to you. I've tried to do it about 4 times. It's not cut out for me. 1 second, please. Son, I need you to go to the potty. Minus the screaming. Your timer went off. I need you to go to the potty. Thank you very much. Hurry up. Anyway, my devotional this morning is entitled Start Enjoying You. And the reason why it ties in with what I'm saying, but there's not another you. I had a whole other palette that I was going to do my look out of, and it totally escaped my brain. See, I can't plan stuff. It just does not work for me. Sorry. And if you don't like this part, that's okay. You can click off. You're not going to hurt my feelings. This is just what I feel led to talk about and to share with you. And if I could get my itty bitty brain to work, it would help oh so much. Did you go potty? Son? Son? Did you go potty?
Yes.
Did you clean your hands? Okay, let's reset your timer. I need you to come out of my room. We'll do this way, and it'll just have to work. Anyway, some people will try to interpret this a different way than how I'm going to do it today. That's okay. We're going to read out of Romans, the 8th chapter and the 29th verse. And it says, For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. What say we then? What say we then? Try this again. What shall we say then to these things? Tongue twisters. If God be for us, who can be against us? And whenever we talk about the predestination, the conforming to his image, I don't believe we have free will. So I don't believe that people are predestined. There's a predestined amount of human beings that are going to heaven, and God already knows. I don't believe that way. What this scripture is talking about, if you think about when God sent Moses to see Pharaoh, Moses couldn't talk very well. He stuttered. So, that was his thing. He was like, God, I can't do this. Well, God chose him to do a work. So he equipped him to do the job. Now, we'll take that into me and into you. Into me, if I had continued to try to be my mother or to try to be my sister. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Seriously, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, I disconnected. Hopefully it's all good on your end, because I don't know how to fix it on my end. Anyway, what I was saying is, because I learned, and it took me a long time, about 40 years, 39, 40 years, because whenever, I always, as an adult, I always lived away from my mom. So whenever I was away from her, yeah, I don't know why it was buffering. I'm like, the stuff is right, I can reach it. I don't know, it's spectrum is all I can tell you. Anyway, as an adult, for most of my adult life, I lived away from my mother and my father because my husband was in the Army. And even now, I live 2 hours away from my mom, 2 hours away from my dad, just opposite directions now. But whenever I went to church, or whenever I went to meetings or camp meeting or something like that, I could act like me. I could be me all day long. I could do what I wanted, how I felt, what I should do. But then I'd go to church with my mother, and I'd sit on the pew next to her, prim and proper, and I'd wait. And if she did something, I'd do it. If she didn't do it, I wouldn't do it. That went on for a long time. Then one day, God and I had a discussion. And God reminded me that He created me to be me. So now, whenever I go wherever, I'm me. However I worship in my home church is how I worship in any church. Whatever I say and do is not just on here, it's in my everyday life. I mess up. I just, there are sometimes that I have to apologize, and I'm not afraid to apologize, even if I wasn't completely wrong or don't feel that I was wrong. I'll still apologize, because at some point in time, if I've had a disagreement with you, at some point in time, we both were involved. So anyway, the last little part of this is, need new eyeballs. Last little thing that I wanted to put into this today is 1 Corinthians 2:16, and it says, "For who hath known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ." So if indeed you have the mind of Christ, if indeed that's who you're choosing to follow, He fashioned you.
It's lightning, not green.
Cool.
Oh, no.
Please take it in your room.
Oh no.
Oh no, please take it in your room.
It's Jackson Storm.
It's Jackson Storm and Lightning McQueen. Please take them in your room. Anyway, son, take them in your room. Make them go real fast in your room. Anyway, God has a reason for you to be here. Your reason to be here is not the same as mine. It's not the same as anybody else's. You may partner with someone to further what you're doing.
It's Lightning McQueen.
Yes, it's Lightning McQueen.
Oh no, it's Jackson Storm.
Oh no, it's Jackson Storm.
He's beating Lightning.
Anyway, but you are called
Lightning
to be you.
It's
Because when we
Jackson
subject
Storm
ourselves to God,
win.
we become who God wants us to be. And that is if we really want to, if that's what we really want to do with our lives,
Lightning McQueen.
please take that in your room.
Oh, no.
Go, son. If we do that, if we follow the path that has been laid before us, that God has predestined for us, and we become the people that God wants us to be. You know, it may be your calling to scrub the toilets, okay? It may be your calling to go places that other people won't go. You may have a gift to do that. I'm going to tell you straight up. You put me in a place where there's a lot of strange people I don't know. Uh, where there's a lot of people that I don't know, I'm not going to say a whole lot. It's just not going to happen. I can talk to a camera, but when you put me in front of a bunch of people, it's probably not going to happen. Anyway, so what I want you to take away from this is a very simple thought, a very simple, practical thought. You are designed to be you, your gifts, your talents, your abilities. Everything that is within you is there for a purpose, and it's for your purpose. And it's for you to live your life the way that it was intended to be lived. So I want you to think about, all too often, we try to be other people. We find somebody that we like so very much. And I'll just tell you straight up, I've been in service with Perry Stone. I've heard him preach, been right in the same tabernacle with him, and I would love to know the Bible like he does. Man knows it forward, backwards, sideways, upside down, and then some. I would love to know that. If I had put in the work that he had, I would. I haven't done the work. I'm also not called. I don't have a prophetic calling. Nothing to be ashamed of with that. I don't have that. There are other people that do. My calling is to be me and to do what I do. Anyway, so just kind of leave you with that. And I hope that you enjoyed it. If there's anything that I can do to help you, I'm going to put on some mascara because I forgot, and blush because I forgot. But if there's anything I can do to help you, you know how to find me on Twitter at VL9, the mayor's daughter. And as always, remember that I do love you very, very much. I care very much about you as a person. So I am the mayor's daughter,